Hey there, welcome to Hobie on YouTube. I'd like to talk about World War II engineer knives because I have a new one. It's a little different, a little harder to find, and perhaps you've not seen one before. But as you probably know, these engineer knives are the four-bladed utility or scout type pocket knives that so many companies made for the troops during World War II. I mean, Camillus made most of them. They cranked out over 3 million, I think. But other companies made them, like Pal Blade Company, Western, Cutmaster, Utica, K-Bar, Boker USA, Imperial, Kingston, which was a joint venture between Imperial and Ulster for making World War II knives. So just a kind of a who's who of American knife makers were participating in these contracts. So the knives are not uncommon, and they're easy to find, and I think fun to collect. I would say probably the most common would be the ones that don't have any kind of a shield, like this Boker USA here. Here you can see it just has brown, plain brown bone covers, and they are going to be a steel usually, steel bolsters, steel liners, steel bales, and carbon steel tools and blade. But you can often find them with a banner shield like this Camillus I have here. And sometimes that banner shield or that GIMP shield is marked with the branch of the armed forces that the knives were intended for. This one, USA, was going to the U.S. Army, but you can also find them with U.S.N for U.S. Navy, MD-USN for Medical Department of U.S. Navy, and U.S.M.C for United States Marine Corps. So as I mentioned, most of these have a banner or GIMP shield, although for the United States Marine Corps knives, Imperial and therefore Kingston used a round shield like this. So this is a Kingston. It's simply marked Made in USA on the tang. A lot of times the Kingstons didn't say Kingston on them anywhere, just would say Made in USA. And here you can see the shield. It's just a simple round shield that says U.S.M.C. around it for United States Marine Corps. You can see there that it's pinned right through the middle. Steel all about. But it's a different knife. It's actually bigger and has heavier tools and blades than the other Army engineer knives that I've come across, or military engineer knives. So this Camillus is an Army engineer's knife. And it's 3 3/8 inches, whereas this knife is 3 3/4. But it doesn't just stop there. There's a big difference between all the tools. Here on the Army engineer's knife, the screwdriver cap lifter is that size, and on the U.S. Marine Corps engineer's knife, look at the difference. I think this knife also has just a little heavier liners. It seems to be just a little wider across there on the metal in the back. I mean, the same holds true with the can opener. The Kingston Marine Corps version is just got a bigger, heavier looking can opener. It's also got a little post here to open it, whereas this one is just simply folded. And then the awl, there's a big difference to the awl. First of all, the size difference. But this just looks a lot more hardy to me, like it's not going to break very easily. It's very sharp, it's broader. It just seems like more of a substantial work tool. And then finally the blades. Now the Camillus may be worn down a little more than the Kingston here, but there's a big difference in the blades. So it's a great knife. I just love this knife. It's just big and robust. Here's that tang stamp. This is the only stamping you'll find or marking on the knife. Just says Made in USA. That's typical for these Kingston knives. But yeah, what a great knife. just so sturdy. I mean, get a load of that. Screwdriver, cap lifter. It's awesome. It's huge. Has a lot of reach. And yeah, again, the awl is just great. It's nice and snappy. Really nothing wrong with this knife. The covers are in pretty good shape. I think there's just a little hairline crack here under this back lower pin. That's pretty common. Got a cutout here to get to the awl. There's no cutout here really to get to the screwdriver cap lifter, but you don't really need it. The nail nick sits up high here, and your post is really easy to get. They've given you a divot there as well. 3 pins, steel, very neat. This knife can be found in Michael Silvey's The Complete Book of U.S. Military Pocket Knives on page 89, and he shows 3 that are U.S.M.C. knives. The top here is a Camillus with the banner or gimp shield. And I think those are the most common just because Camillus made so many knives in World War II. Then he shows an Imperial. This one has an Imperial tag stamp, Imperial Providence, Rhode Island. And then he shows the Made in USA knife, which is the Kingston joint venture between Imperial and Ulster. And these 2 knives, they look identical as far as I can tell, except the Imperial has a little different blade. It's got a long pull and a swedge. And of course, then the tag stamps would be different. Finally, I just want to mention that I don't think that these traditional engineer's knives were made for the U.S. Marine Corps in this manner for very long, because they during World War II brought out the milk or demo knife, originally for the U.S. Marine Corps. And here you can see it's got steel scales. This one does have brass liners because it's one of the earlier versions. But this was quickly adopted across all the branches of the armed forces. So these were all retired and replaced by these knives, but they first came to the U.S. Marine Corps. I'm not exactly sure what year that was. I think they started doing it pretty early on, so I'm not really sure how many years they made these knives for the Marine Corps, but I'm thinking it's probably like 42, 43, something like that. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed looking at another World War II U.S. military pocket knife. And as always, I appreciate you, and thanks for watching.